Story of Finn MacCool and Benandonner. In the northwest of Europe lies two little islands. We have, right here, the British Isles, and here we have the island of Ireland. If we were to zoom in a bit further, we have the north coast of Ireland over here, and we have the United Kingdom and Scotland, the coast of Scotland, right here. Little geography for you. This is Loch Ness, one of the deepest and biggest lakes, biggest lochs in Ireland. And down here we have the Isle of Man. Our story takes place on the very north coast of Ireland. Just off the glens of Antrim, which are around here, we have the Giant's Causeway. And that's where our story today takes place. A long time ago, there was a giant on the north of Ireland called Finn MacCool. Finn MacCool was a huge guy, and he fought in many battles around Ireland, and he was the strongest giant Ireland has ever seen. He was a hero in Ireland. And Finn MacCool lived on the very north coast of Ireland. He could see right over to Scotland. But there was a problem. He could see across the Irish Sea, and across the Irish Sea there was another giant. This other giant was called Benandonner. Benandonner prowled the lands of Scotland, and he did not like Finn MacCool. And Finn MacCool did not like Benandonner. They never met each other because they were separated by the Irish Sea. Scotland on one side, Ireland on the other. And there's only about 10 miles difference. But their rivalry and their dislike for each other got so strong they used to throw and hurl things, not just abuse, but rocks and stones and trees and sometimes even the odd animal. Their aggression got so much one day that Finn MacCool got so angry, what am I going to do now? He dug his hands deep into the ground in Ireland and he thought, I am going to throw the greatest and the biggest rock ever at Benandonner and kill him. He lifted a massive lump of land out of the ground in Ireland and hurled it across the Irish Sea. That was how Loch Ness came about. And that was how the Isle of Man landed in the Irish Sea. That was the land from Loch Ness that he threw at Benandonner, and it landed in the middle of the Irish Sea, and it's now called the Isle of Man. For years and years, Benandonner and Finn MacCool would throw and hurl abuse and rocks and trees at each other. Until eventually, everything they threw started to build up on either side, on Ireland and in Scotland. And over the years, more and more rock would get together and build up in the Irish Sea until you could almost walk from Ireland to Scotland. Finn MacCool was the first to notice this. And he thought, when the tide goes out in the morning, I might try to go across to Scotland and fight Benandonner. So the next morning, he got out of bed and walked across the rocks in the Irish Sea. I'm going to fight Benandonner. He was angry. He was ready for a fight. Early that morning, it was only 8 miles, so he got there quite quickly. Early that morning, he got on to Scotland and looked around. He thought the element of surprise would do him the world of good. He climbed up on a cliff and he could see just over the horizon Benandonner was tending to his sheep. But Benandonner looked very big. It's okay when you're back in Ireland and someone looks big, you think, they must be really tall. But up close, Benandonner was huge. Finn MacCool was a big giant, but Benandonner was a massive giant. Finn MacCool thought better of it. He seen the size of him and thought, I haven't got a chance here. And he ran back to Ireland as fast as possible, covering the 8 miles from Scotland to Ireland in minutes until he got home. Benandonner had just so happened to turn around at the time and he could see out of the corner of his eye, Finn MacCool's running back to Ireland. He was here. He was going to fight me. This really angered Benandonner. Instantly, he thought, right, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to batter him stupid one last time. I'm sick of him throwing stuff at my sheep. So he ran, charging over the Irish Sea to batter him. Finn MacCool got home as quickly as possible, rapped on the door. Let me in, let me in. His wife, Oonagh, opened the door. Benandonner's coming to fight me. He's so much bigger than me. You gotta help me. Oonagh goes, come here to me. Calm down, calm down, calm down. I've got an idea. What you're going to do, you're going to go into the bedroom, and you know your baby clothes for wee Seamus? Aye. Put them on your head. What? Put them on your head and get into bed and wrap yourself in the blanket and pretend to be asleep. Okay, fair enough. Oonagh had a plan. Oonagh knew what she was doing. A couple of minutes later, she'd hear the stomping of Benandonner coming. I want to fight ye, Finn MacCool. Banging on the door. Let me in, let me in. Oonagh opens the door. What are you shouting about out there? It's raining. Come on now. Where's Finn MacCool? I want to batter him. Calm down, Minnie. Calm down. Come on in for a cup of tea. He's in the market. You can have a cup of tea. When he comes back from the market, you can batter him then. I want to batter him now. No, calm down. Cup of tea, cup of tea. Right. So he walks into Oonagh's kitchen. She puts on a cup of tea. Benandonner's calming down, having a nice cup of tea, because that's what you do with a cup of tea. You calm down. And he's looking around the kitchen, and he sees the picture of Finn MacCool and Oonagh, and he sees a picture of a baby. Ah, you've got a wee one, have you? Aye, he's only a couple of weeks old. Can I see him? He's in the bedroom there. Finn MacCool could hear this. He's like, oh, that's what she's doing. So he had the baby clothes, the bib, and he was wrapped up in bed. Oonagh goes, sure, go on into the bedroom. You can see him. He's sleeping. Don't wake him up now. Right. So he gets up and he starts to stomp over to the bedroom. He pulls back the curtain and he sees Finn MacCool lying pretending to be asleep. But he thinks it's the baby. Oh, Jesus. Is that the size of your baby? If that's the size of your baby, what's the bloody size of Finn MacCool? And he runs as fast as he can out the door, drops the tea, runs and runs and runs back to Scotland. I'm never coming back here again. And he runs so hard he forgets his shoe, leaves his shoe at Finn MacCool's house and runs back to Ireland, runs back to Scotland. And he's stomping so fast on the ground, he breaks up all the rocks that they spent years throwing at each other. And he runs back to Scotland and the Irish Sea blows away all of the rocks, all of the trees, all of the stones that connected Ireland and Scotland. There was suddenly a sea again between the two countries. Benandonner was never seen again. Finn MacCool gets out of his bed. Sure, that was a pretty good plan you had there. He's like, aye, stop you throwing things across the Irish Sea now. It's not very nice. Benandonner never went back to Ireland. He stayed in Scotland, and Finn MacCool lived on happily ever after in the north coast of Ireland. And you can still see where Finn MacCool lives to this day, because you can go and visit the Giant's Causeway, where you can see Benandonner's boot, which is still lying there, shoe size 195. And you can see where Finn MacCool used to live, where all of the rocks that used to connect to Scotland are all hexagonal basalt rocks. Beautiful, beautiful place to go. Please go visit when you can. Thank you very much. That's the story of Finn MacCool and Benandonner.